ladies and gentlemen. So we are here in Houston, Texas with some powerful men. I'm going to say that. And when I say powerful, I'm not talking about just what you may see on social media. I'm talking about the impact that they've had on and the influence that they had on other people's lives. And so that actually aligns with what we're going to talk about today, the impact of influence, Volume 8. So I'm going to get these gentlemen to introduce themselves going from left to my right. We're going to start down here with Mr. Chip Baker.
I'm Chip Baker. I'll tell a little bit about myself. Just
Absolutely.
Okay. Fourth generation educator, teacher, and former coach. I'm blessed and fortunate, man, to be raised by some great people. So it's been around some awesome folks to learn from in my career. I started my YouTube channel and podcast, The Success Chronicles, about 8 years ago. And what I do is just interview people from all walks of life and share their stories for positive inspiration and motivation. Started writing books about 6 years ago, and published a few of those. A few of those have been bestsellers, and man, we're here because of that. And so truly grateful and thankful for that opportunity.
Yeah, Chip, I gotta follow that.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Ramon Chinyoung Sr., currently assistant offensive line coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Been coaching Texas high school football for 10 years prior to my jump to the National Football League. Former Texas high school athlete. Married to my college sweetheart with two beautiful boys. I'm just so appreciative for this opportunity to be able to share my journey, share our journey, and ultimately impact and inspire others.
You got to follow that. Come on.
David Settle, just a regular kid from the southwest side of Houston, Texas. Been able to travel the world as a DJ, award-winning DJ, celebrity photographer, radio host for one of the largest media companies in the country. Father of 5, that's right, 5 kids.
Busy.
Yes, had lots of fun. But yeah, man, I'm just lifelong learner and like to have fun.
Yeah.
And I'm Pasha. I'm your moderator for today. I'm a brand consultant. I also work with athletes in leadership, character development, and also transitioning their careers, because we know that all of you know, maybe not this athlete, but most of the athletes know that it's the transition from being an actively participating in sport to careers can be very hard.
Oh yeah.
Right? And I've listened to you all talk about the importance of athletes understanding who they are, and how these books, this volume especially, can be something that definitely helps them. And also you have another book, right? The Destiny
Dallas.
Yes, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Yeah, definitely. So I have athletes as well. Been doing it for a while. Been in fashion in New York. I'm back home in Houston. And I have the pleasure of moderating this and having this conversation with these gentlemen. So let's get it started. Y'all ready? Y'all ready?
Let's go get it.
So Mr. Chip, I was listening to you in your introduction and talking about the impact of influence. And I just want to know what impacted you and inspired you to actually start to write these books?
I think it really happened organically, and I'll go here. I even dive right into it. My chapter, the title of my chapter in the book is Your ROI Determines Your ROI. And what that is your radar of influence determines your return on your investment, and your return on your investment determines your radar of influence. And us being here that's the definition of that. I've been blessed to be in some situations, radars, if you will, where I've been influenced by some amazing people. And because I invested in those situations and gave my maximum effort, I was able to receive maximum benefits and maximum results from that. And so my entire life has been that, right? And so I've just strived to work hard, do things the right way. And I've just been blessed with some amazing people in my life. Yeah. Right? And so that's kind of how it all started. A guy that does publishing reached out, and we started the Impact of Influence series. And that series, when I started the series, I didn't start it as a series. I just started it as a book. The Impact of Influence. And so now we're here in Volume 8. And the journey has been amazing.
Okay, so Mr. Ramon, that's correct, right?
Yes, did a great job.
Thank you. What inspired you? I know it's Chip, because everybody says it's Chip. Chip inspired me to be a part of this book. But what's another inspiration for you to want to be a part of the series?
Great question. Last year I had the opportunity to talk and to speak at in Dallas. We do this coaches summit where we speak to youth coaches all the way from little league coaches, middle school, popular, high school, just the whole spectrum. And it got me thinking about, or reminded me of, my personal journey, my personal story. And I felt like it was important to share not only my journey, but the journey of others who helped me accomplish what I've accomplished up to today. And so, yes, I reached out to Chip. He's doing some great influential things. And I said, why not reach out to somebody who already has a platform of impacting and inspiring others, and ask to be a part of something that's so monumental. In its testimony, it's a testament to the fact that you're at volume 8. And so I'm just so appreciative to be able to tell that story of somebody who has impacted my life.
So what I'm hearing here also is the power of collaboration. Because I don't believe that any of us, great person, anybody that's done anything great, could not do it alone. They may be the person that is at the forefront, the famous person or whatever that looks like. But you can't get to greatness by yourself.
Right.
It's going to take other people having to lift you into that vision. So that's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Mr. Dave, hi.
Hola.
Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, I'm like, these are all inside jokes about this. So, what inspired you to want to be a part of this process of Volume 8? And before you answer that, 8 is a powerful number.
It is. It's funny. My daughter's birthday is 8808. Yeah, and my firstborn, I'll obviously never forget it. I got 5 kids. It's really hard to remember birthdays. Yeah, except for the twins, because it's like a double whammy, right? It keeps them real special. Man, what really inspired me to be a part of this project, Chip told us all to write about somebody specific in your life that has impacted you. And I could have went to the stereotypical, grandmother or pastor or maybe a coach. But I was very intentional, and I wanted to write about a person that many people probably wouldn't write about. And I chose to write about my ex-wife because during our relationship, she helped. She's very instrumental in developing a lot of things that are quintessential to my success that I get to experience to this day. And then secondly, there's such a bad stigma about divorce. There's such a huge and horrible connotation when people talk about their ex-spouse, and it's always in a negative light. And, they're always bickering, or there's always frustration. And whenever you hear people talk about divorce, 9 times out of 10 it's negative.
Yeah.
Right.
And not that my story can change the narrative for the entire world, but I just wanted to put out a different narrative. I wanted to put out a different perspective and show that you can still have love after divorce. You still can't have friendships after divorce. You still can't raise and parent your kids, after divorce. And so that's kind of what inspired me to be a part of this project.
So as I'm listening, thank you for that. As I'm listening, what I hear is the love doesn't end just because the relationship does.
Oh no, absolutely.
That's the thing, and I think that's what happens with a lot of relationships. It's like, I don't love you anymore, but if you truly love a person, it is selfless. It's selfish.
It's a choice. I tell people all the time, love is a choice. Those fuzzy feelings that comes and goes, right? You can kind of fan those flames by choosing to, right? And those fuzzy feelings, you can also reignite those. But at the end of the day, love is a choice, and your love is truly tested and prevails when it's tested, right? That's when you have the ultimate chance to prove your love. Is when you don't feel like loving somebody, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think too, man, I'll just kind of piggyback on that, Dave. And you and I had this conversation a couple times.
Yep.
Because I think it's amazing, coming from a divorce home as well. A lot of times, as a kid, you don't know until you grow and get older and mature, that like people just have differences.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times you wonder, oh, it's fault, it's fault. No, we're like, people just have differences and grow apart. You know, those things just happen. But I commend you for, and your ex-wife for continuing relationship and understanding it's bigger than us. It's about the kids.
Yeah.
And man, when you can do that, the kids benefit so much, and it shows them so much about relationships and communication and love, and being selfless. All of those kind of things. Like y'all are setting them up for amazing success in their life, and will be influential for generations out there.
Yeah, my goal never was to like glamorize divorce, right? And make it palatable. It's just that if that happens, right? Sometimes things happen outside of your control. And I mean, even in the Bible, right? Like God had instituted a way out. If it happened, and if it does happen, I just wanted to give people a picture of what it could possibly be if this type of traumatic event occurs. Because it was traumatic for me. Like I literally went down a deep, dark, depressive spiral. There was a suicide attempt in there and everything. Like my identity was wrapped up in my marriage as a husband, as a father, and I thought I had failed, right? And then God revealed to me that no, you're not a failure. Right? I'm going to show you how to pick up the pieces. I'm going to show you how to love again. Not just love somebody else, but I'm going to show you how to love her and show you how to love yourself. And so I literally learned what real love is through this process.
That brings me to my next question for all of you gentlemen, and I'll start down here with Chip again. How much of a role did the women in your life play with supporting you through this journey and being part of, that lifting you up as you're in this process of writing, because you have so many other things that you're doing as well. Even in your regular career, how important were the roles of women in your lives?
I think, I just tell you, I tell people all the time, man, I was raised with a superhero in my house. It's my mom, right? And so I was able to, like, all of the stuff that I'm doing, the way I do what I do, like, man, I've seen that from somebody else before I did any of this. It was my mother. Right? So my mom was a super influential person, minister of music in our churches, long-time educator, first black lady on the city council in my town. The list goes on and on of things that she did to give service, to help people. Even when we didn't have at our house, she was going out giving to others, right? And so, I saw service from day one what it's supposed to be like. And that was the expectation for me, and I've strived to do that. And then, piggybacking onto my wife. My wife, very similar traits as far as the support, standing on business,
Get you straight, get you together.
Making sure that everything is on point, and just being supportive, right? And really that's all we need, someone to just be supportive for us, and knowing, hey, I got your back, it don't matter, like, do your thing, and enjoy doing your thing. And that's one thing I also say, man, as an athlete growing up, as a person that's always been busy and involved in stuff, I've always had family that have supported me and like, hey, we got you, do your thing. Like, when I want to go to college and play football, it's like 10 hours away from the house. It's all right, we got you. Do your thing. I'm in this career where I'm pouring more into other kids and spending more time with other people's kids than I get to with my own kid at the house. It's all right. Do your thing. And so, like, it's been that way my whole life. And so I also strive, just like I strive to go hard to give service, I also have strived to make sure that they know I'm appreciative of them.
This is something I feel like people need to understand as well. Sometimes that family support comes from a makeshift family.
Yeah.
Right? Because people go through a lot of changes and things with their families, and it's great to have support and that kind of family that supports you. But there are some people that don't have that family support, and they've had to create those families or have friends that have become family. So that support is also very important.
And Pasha, we've done that with the Impact of Influence family too.
Nice.
We are 8 volumes in, and we do live lots of things together. You know, we've done book tours and speaking engagements and panels, and we've done a number of things. Family picnic. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you've just been in Houston, but you'll see like things that we go to, like it'll be 5, 6 impact authors there. Like nothing, and so man, I'm truly grateful for that and excited for that journey.
Yeah. Even when I think about sports,
oh man,
the Cowboys, we think about the tribe of people around the Cowboys. It's just like you would think that they were your crazy cousins. Right?
Crazy is right.
Like, they will paint their garage, trucks, tires. They'll paint the babies. They bring it to
houses.
And so I want to know about that, what that family means to you. But first, I want to know about your family, because when I looked you up, because I studied everybody before I talked to them. And one of the first things I said is like, he's a family man. Because your wife and your kids are in everything.
Oh yeah.
So
that's my rock.
What that is for you as far as your family and the organization.
No, definitely. I mean, even going back and relating, right? I grew up in a single parent home. Like my mother and father divorced at 4, and so unlike the extremely positive outlook that you have, and I'm so excited to read that chapter. I was on the opposite end of the spectrum, and my mother was my everything. Just something as simple as having 3 jobs and just going to work, and there wasn't a lot of fun in the household outside while she was at work and grinding, because there were things that needed to be taken care of, but we still found ways to have fun and to build that valuable relationship. And I remember this telling my student athletes, and I'll dive into my own loved ones as well, but I remember telling my student athletes when I was a young high school football coach, I remember seeing my mother cry one time. So I walked in the house, it was quiet, my mom's sitting on the couch, just finished up football practice, and I look and I noticed she's got a few tears rolling down her eyes, and I said, hey, is everything all right? She's like, yeah, everything's fine, and left it as that. Now if mama say that's it. Now you don't add on. Yes ma'am.
Yes ma'am.
Well then, I went to sleep, woke up in the middle of the night, I was hungry, and tried to turn the lights on, and I realized, man, the lights aren't coming on. So we're in the living room area, we were in a small apartment, and there was candles lit, and I realized, okay, mama had to make a tough decision, right? Either put food in the fridge or turn the lights on, keep the lights on. And so just those valuable moments of my mother showing me selflessness, just being so selfless and so much that she was willing to accomplish for us or for me, ultimately led me to be the man that I am today, which is, I tell you what, the first time I truly cried was when I found out I was having a boy, my firstborn, right? Just because, man, I had an opportunity to give something or give to someone that I didn't have given to me. And it was so impactful and so amazing. And man, my wife has been a part of my journey the whole step of the way. Former coach as well. My old student athletes used to know her as Mama Chin, right? She used to cook for the players, always be around, spend time with the guys. I mean, we were that family that on Sundays we were inviting student athletes out to church, or hey, if it was that makeshift family, hey, you come over, you can eat breakfast and go home, whatever that may be. And my wife was a part of that journey, and ultimately I had somebody ask me the other day, like, what's your goal? What's your true goal, right? Like, you want to be a head coach, you want to be what's your real goal? And I said, ultimately my true goal is to allow my sons to have a better race at life than I did, right? And even if that's, I was running in tennis shoes and now they're running in cleats, just to ensure that they're now more equipped in life than I was. And so I'm so appreciative of my family, but they've truly been, my wife, my mother, they've been there every step of the way.
As I'm listening to you all, I really admire the fact that men are willing to, number one, acknowledge the women in their life, whether they were former or present. Because, you have a lot of people out there that are big time, and a lot of times the women are kind of just like objects, or that added piece that, when it's Mother's Day, we're going to celebrate, you get all the gifts and all that, but they don't really acknowledge and talk about them as much as I'm hearing it here. So I really admire that about you all, and I think that is something that other young men will take away when we talk about influence. You guys are influencing young men by giving your stories and by paying homage to these women to be better men. Because back in the day, and even with this rap music today, I mean, that, we don't have to go into that, but it's just ugly, you know, as objects. So, as we're talking about this volume 8, or the impact of influence, the impact of influence, I just want to know, how important is community with this? Because, you know, you said it makes your family, and we talked about it earlier, like over probably 100 authors, and you continue to look for more people to create more volumes. How important has community been in this, and what does that community look like?
Community is everything. I think several of us have said already in our time together today that no one does anything of significance alone. You know, and so it's important to make sure that we build that family, build that community with one another, you know, support one another, but then also show people, just like, you know, Dave was saying in his chapter, that like, regardless of the situation, if it may even seem like it's broken, it's not, right? It can be pieced together, right? It can be fixed, and you can still show love. You can understand that it's bigger than you. It's not about you. It's about what you can do to help others. And people see that, like, more than you know. Like people see how you operate and how you do things. And so I think that, you know, I'm a big checking it out. I don't say a lot. I see a lot. And that's what I just want people to see, that, man, community and family is important. From us being the example.
So when we talk about the word influence, I just have to point this out. We have influencers on social media these days, and they get paid. Some of them get paid a lot of money to influence people to do things, right? And so when we're talking about influence, when I'm listening to you all, I'm thinking about being demonstrations of how to be great, demonstrations of integrity, demonstrations of, you know, family and community. So I want to know from each one of you, as we start to wrap up this interview, how do you want to impact others with your influence? And what do you have to say to them?
I'll start with
I start with you.
Yeah, so I actually looked up the definition. I don't know, I just felt the need. Like, influence is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something, right? To have an effect on somebody. I had the privilege of doing an interview with Kid and Play, and Play shared about his recent infatuation with cinematography and how he's become like infatuated with documentaries and learning about cameras and film. So we connected on that, right? And through that, he said, you know, aside from like what he gets excited about, it's not so much people saying, oh man, I loved your work, it was great. He'd much rather hear somebody say, I learned something from that, or I got something out of it. And I took that to heart, because it's like anything I do, aside from somebody saying how dope it is, or how cool it was, or how great it was, I'd much rather hear somebody say, man, because of that, this is what I took from that. This is how it changed the way I think, the way I move, the way I act. And I truly think that you can't really have influence on people unless you yourself have been influenced, right? You can't pour from the empty cup. And so I'm constantly trying to fill up my cup through, you know, learning and just being around other influential people. And for me, the goal isn't like to have an impact or an effect on people. If I do, that's just a byproduct. I'm trying to live my life of obedience to God and hear God say, well done. And as a result, as a byproduct, people are influenced. But I'm not out here saying, oh, I want to influence you. I'm not trying to take on the term, or, you know, I don't want to be an influencer. If people get influenced because I'm out here doing what I'm supposed to be doing, so be it. Like, I'm glad for that to happen, but that's not the ultimate goal. And I think that that's where true influence happens. And I'll say this last thing. I told my son this. like the people who are really cool on this, like cool, right? Are the ones who don't care about being cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The moment you stop trying to be cool, I don't know what it is about that juxtaposition, but the moment you stop caring about being cool is when you all of a sudden become cool in people's eyes. And I think the moment we stop worrying about, I want to influence this person, do da, that's when we find like the most influence.
Yeah.
So
I think people needed to hear that. And I believe that a word, only means how you define it. Because you're not defining influence for yourself, like the world has defined it for so many people. Like they influence you to buy this product or to go, and it's like, oh, you're trying to persuade people to do things, but your impact is how you show up and be a demonstration of what you're teaching.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that teaching doesn't always have to come through words. It comes through
action.
just watching.
You can tell when people are trying too hard, when they're out there doing the most. You can tell when they're trying to sell you something. You can tell when they're trying to get the attention of a certain young lady or a guy, right? You can always tell when folks are trying too hard.
Yeah.
But the people who have the biggest influences are the ones who are just living their lives.
Yeah.
Like, that's the ones who we want to buy products from.
Yeah.
Like, I truly think Shaq just be out there living his best life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he don't be out there trying to be nobody special.
Real Shaq.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Shaq,
Boatload of money doing it.
but I will buy Shaq's products because I believe in Shaq.
Yeah.
I don't believe you out there trying to sell me on the general.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents, man.
Mr. Ramon, what would you like people to take away from and be influenced by, quote unquote?
Gotta be careful now with them.
I know.
My bad.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So what would you like to say to the people about this topic?
And ultimately, be willing to be a vessel.
Yeah.
Like, ultimately be willing to be used. That's the picture that I'm trying to paint. Is, I tell a story and I give a background and a backstory to how I was impacted and influenced and inspired from someone else's actions. But ultimately, it would have never have taken place if I personally wasn't willing to be used for something greater than I, right? And biblically, I must decrease in order for him to increase. And so I would just love for people to take away, be a vessel, allow your actions to speak louder than your words, lead by example. I'm a firm believer in leading by example, right? There's multiple ways to lead. There's those who are vocal leaders who can stand up in front of a room and impact and inspire through words. I would want to tell folks in order to be a vessel, impact and inspire through your actions. Allow others to see the great things that you are doing in your life through your body of work. So ultimately, that's what I would love for them to take away from that.
And Mr. Chip?
I think for me, it's like, what they said.
Right on. That's why you chose this. Right on.
No, I just think, man, just in short, striving to do the best that you can, giving the maximum effort to be the best version of yourself, so that you can be the best version of yourself for others. And really, that's for me, being the example. Striving to be the example, because when you're striving to be the example, it allows you to look inwardly and say, man, what am I doing? Am I on point? Am I tripping? You tripping? Like you straighten up. So it allows us to continue to look within to win.
So what I'm taking away from this, number one, is always show up doing your best.
Yeah.
Have people around you, whoever those people are, that impact and influence you, to be people that are servant leaders just like you are, to be people that will support you, and people that will straighten you out, that can tell you the truth, because you have to be around people that you know, like, and trust, and that you can listen to, that'll help you navigate these turbulent waters that we go through sometimes in life. So go out and get the book, The Impact of Influence, Volume 8.
Let's go.
And that release date will be July 13, 2024. So look out for it. And lastly, we want you to give your social media handle so they can go follow you, so they can support you. Chip us over.
Chip Baker, TSC, as in The Success Chronicles. Everything is there except for X, Twitter.
X.
That's Chip Baker 19.
That would be formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, formerly known as.
Kind of like Prince.
R Chinyoung at Twitter is my only social media platform outside of LinkedIn. Just type the name in, you'll find me.
Google him, too.
Google it. You can send all letters and correspondences. No, I'm just kidding.
Donations.
Yeah, right. No, all social media from Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all them places, all the things. At the David Settle. The David Settle.
And don't forget the D.
Yeah.
Thank you. And mine is at Pasha Cook, P as in Paul, ASHACOOK. We'll see you soon. Be on the lookout for the Impact of Influence Volume 8. Go get yours as soon as they hit the presses, all right? Thank you so much for your time for today. Thank you, ladies. I said thank you, ladies. Thank you, gentlemen.
Go get it.
All right, man.